Hey guys, just a quick little intro. It's just a tier list ranking for all the R6 maps that are in ranked and all that. It's not going to be as long as the operator video. I don't lose my voice as much. But this and one more video, and then I'm going to be doing a little bit of a different video after that. I hope you guys enjoy all the videos I have planned for the foreseeable future. And yeah, enjoy. All right, take care. We are recording.
Where's the Vert cameo? I'm already bored.
Yeah, yeah, bound to happen, I'm sure. All right, as you can see, this glorious tier list of things that aren't ranked, and then the map that blew up. So now, let's begin at the beginning. All places to begin. And what better place to begin than Lair? Now,
Put it in the right spot. Do it.
here's the thing, right? I think that there's only realistically a tiny little bit stopping it from being directly S tier, but I still would put it S tier myself. I just think that it's missing a little something, and I think that that's basement, and I think basement just needs more like use. But I still
Needs a bit more love.
I still think Lair is S tier. Nighthaven Labs, another easy S tier.
Put it in front of Lair. Put it in front of Lair.
Nighthaven, I think, might be one of the best, if not the best map in the game. I'm not gonna lie. It's just the defense sites are really great. Attacking's really great. I think it's really overall enjoyable.
There's so many avenues for just plays and strats on it. Whether it's coming up from a downstairs position up blue stairs into the back double door of the usual standard A site, B site push. You've got the main breach walls that are either defended by mirror and C4s or played off of it properly. Garage push, you know, fucking
I
main
love
upstairs
defending.
garage
I love
push.
defending upstairs. Hey, look! Look!
It's the Vert cameo!
Every time,
Oh
it's the
my
standard.
God.
It's the standard.
It's
It's the standard.
Oregon is S tier. Oregon is S tier.
I'm gonna
Kill him
bash your
now, kill him now.
bash your skull
Take him
in
from the
for
goal.
that.
Why is there not a separate tier for Oregon? You're doing this all wrong.
We need to put it down as the one that blew up.
Yeah.
Okay, now that that's gone.
Hey! 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 Not very nice.
Every time we do a tier list, you
I'm
decide
I'm
to barge in.
I DM'd him to join, by the way.
Did you?
Yeah.
Then it ruins
Yeah,
the
cut
whole
that out.
bit. It ruins the
that out now.
authenticity of it.
Cut it out. So that doesn't mean fun. Oh my God, Vert, why did you join?
No, this is raw
Emerald
recording
Plains
footage. It's
S
all going
tier.
in.
Outback is bad.
Outback. I'm just gonna put that down there.
Another
No.
tier below.
No,
What
they
about the other
removed it
map?
from the
I can't
game
read it.
temporarily until they can
did.
fix it. So as of right now, it's blown up too.
Okay. What's the other map?
It's Hereford. That
Yeah,
one actually
that-
did blow
oh,
up. That
that's been, like,
canonically
long
did blow
gone.
up.
I was
Yeah.
sick.
No,
Yeah.
just quickly, with going back to the main point of things, Emerald Plains, right? Can we put that as a solid A tier?
Yeah.
Look, I know that I advocate for it so much when we see it on the banning map screen. You know what I mean? But Emerald Plains is still lackluster in a few ways.
Yeah.
Purely around, I feel like it depends on how I'm feeling, and it depends on how
Mhm.
often I've played it. You know what I mean? Nighthaven, Lair, I could play that thing a million times
yeah.
and still be like, fuck yeah, this
I
is a great map.
think
play it.
something that's underrated about Lair is its verticality. It has ridiculous amounts of verticality that you can play, and people just don't realize that. Like, literally look at how you can hold plants in upstairs all the way from basement.
Yeah.
Like, that's an
Right.
insane amount of just angle and just like distance that you can cover, and it's really, really hard to actually counter. You either have to move down to first floor, if you're in a 1v1 situation, and maybe you won't get, you know, I'd be able to burn enough time where you couldn't kill me and get back to defuse. It's just, it's such an insane spot that you can hold. I love Lair so much. I really don't get the hate for it.
So good.
And Nighthaven's
Okay,
kind of the
fun.
same way. Bye, Vert.
Love you, Vert. Love you, Vert.
Bye.
Love you. Goodbye.
Bye. All right.
We love our cameos.
Yes. But
It's always nice talking to my boy.
Lair and Nighthaven, they both have really great verticality that I think people underestimate.
100%. It's like, and like as you've seen, especially from like Nighthaven, it's like I know it's a very niche strat, and then like it's promoted through what's it called? All the stuff on TikTok to go second floor with Buck and shoot down through the ground. But that's not one of the only good spots you can do it. There's so much more verticality through Nighthaven as well, even. You know what I mean? Where you can play from downstairs in a lot of certain areas, and throw upstairs in a lot of certain areas, and it just feels really, it flows well because there's not too much of it, but there's not too little of it.
You know, I don't know how controversial this is, and we're already controversial by putting Lair, Nighthaven in S tier, but I honestly think Bunk and Armory is like my favorite defense spot in Lair.
100%.
I think it's just the best. I really do. I love it.
Don't get me wrong. We always tend to play it in the last round of defense if we win the first two, purely because people prefer either basement or second floor. But if you could get that like site with a bandit and a cage set up, combine that with a nice warden and maybe even like a roaming cav or something like that upstairs, Thunderbird as well, you've got yourself set for an absolute W of a round. You know what I mean? There's no wall breach. You ban ram first. You deny the fucking upstairs with a good cav player. Thunderbird heals pretty much every single sitting spot.
Cav, probably big ol', but yeah.
Same difference. You know, same difference.
Just somebody lurking.
Somebody lurking.
Like a Valkyrie even or something.
Even a Mozzie. I wouldn't even mind a Mozzie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'd say Mozzie's underrated, honestly. If Mozzie just got his super shorty back, I think you'd see a lot more Mozzies.
100%. 100%.
All right, next map, Bank.
I think it's look. I don't think it's S tier.
No.
I think it's A tier. Right? Low A tier though.
Yeah.
As much as I love Bank, right? Playing on it requires so much team coordination that you can't find in a 2-stack, right? And solo queuing. While on Nighthaven and Lair, you can kind of hold it even if you're just by yourself.
Yeah.
Right? You can kind of play off yourself and stuff like that. Bank kind of requires you to have a team-centric focus, especially around basement. Second floor, more or less, you can do what you want, but basement, 100%, you need to hold that with a full team. If one avenue is cut off, right, but the rest are open, it's a free push-in.
Basement's the best site to defend, I feel. I don't really like defending upstairs all that much because I just feel like people don't understand how to actually defend it, and then it just kind of leaves it at a like 1v5 all the time because it's just nobody can hold anything. Nobody knows where to sit or where to just watch and all that, and it's just
because people either play 2 inside or 2 outside.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's not a good balance. If you play just sitting inside a site, Amaru's in the window.
Well, it's like we hardly see anybody play underneath, and then we barely see anybody play the elevator, and it's like both of those spots should be played. And it's like
100%.
And it's like, take me for example, it's like either I can play elevator or I can play, underneath the site. And it's like I tend to play underneath the site because I feel like I'm able to deny a lot more. I can deny the main second floor door entry right up there. I can deny the beepers from blue right there. And of course, like if I'm a C4 op, I can just C4 from underneath like Valkyrie typically. But it's just, it's things like that I think people just, again, it's all about playing the 4D chess, because that's what Siege is. And people forget about the vertical elements to it and how you could, there's spots on entire maps that people don't even realize give you certain angles into certain spots. And it's free kills every time because people don't think about it. And then those same people die to that and call you a sweat lord in a hyper competitive hero shooter that is Siege.
It's like people are stuck playing on a 2D plane when you can easily play on a 3D. It's as simple as that. You know what I mean?
Simply a sin.
Now with Border, I want to say again, I want to put a B tier, and I think it's going to be the highest B tier though, purely because it's not the best map, but it's not a bad map. Like I'll play Border and I'll be like,
I honestly think the only thing that I don't like about Border is like the open square area. That's the only thing that I just really don't like, is just that weird open area there. And it's like, it doesn't even get that much play. It does, but it doesn't. But it's just such like a weird pocket of just nothingness, I feel like.
Like it's gonna be the same thing that I feel Emerald Plains could improve on, you know what I mean? And I probably could have said this during the Emerald Plains rant, but that the ability to rappel down square, like you can rappel down Skyline and Emerald Plains, but you can't just look down it, you know what I mean? To deny any play off of it from an attacking to a defensive perspective, kind of ruins the ebb and flow of it, because why even have it there? You know what I mean?
Yeah. But then on the
I
off
feel
chance
like-
that somebody's playing it like with either an Osa mantle shoot or or they are just rappelling down, whatever the case may be, it's like then you don't think about it, you run across and you're just dead.
Exactly, yeah. Like it's a 50-50 depending on just how big of a frontal cortex you have, I guess. You know what I mean? Like just depends. Now, I mean, we were just speaking about 4D chess. Do we want to mention how good Chalet second floor is for defense?
I love Chalet. I think Chalet is one of the most well-designed maps in the game.
People love basement defense, and don't get me wrong, I love it too. But I feel like second floor is slept on for how enjoyable it can be, right? Not only do I love having my feet, like the floor from my feet, taken out from underneath me whenever I spawn into a round and you break the fucking hatch, but Fenrir has become my favorite op, or any kind of trap operator on that side.
Especially
that
with
gives me the ability.
the gas pipes with Capcan, dude, and that
Especially,
underbelly.
yeah.
Where people just they just
Capcan.
run through and you just boom and they're dead.
Fenrir, Malusi, you know what I mean? Like I just love it. It's like
it's a great map with great verticality.
You put the Fenrir underneath the main door, right? And I know people say, oh, put it outside the door, so you can swing them when they come into. I feel like giving them that ground on balcony makes them feel overconfident, in my opinion. You know what I mean? It's a lot scarier. It's a lot scarier, in my opinion, when you're trying to swing a door and you just get Fenrir in mind, because that door has so many other angles that can get peeked, whether it's the rotate, whether it's piano door, whether it's just behind main breach. You know what I mean? Combine that again with hallway traps. You've got back greenhouse stair traps. Like just playing off of piano in general is one of my favorite spots.
It's a map with a good flow. It's a map with a good
100%.
flow.
And it's stayed consistent, and it's only gotten better with CJX.
And it's like you have one of the more iconic runouts too on that map with upstairs, for like garage runout. Like it's really iconic. But it's just a lot of the times when it comes to a map, you want to think about it like water running through it. Like, how well would a liquid flow through it? And I think Chalet is one of the best flowing maps, really.
Yeah, 3 different it's just got the perfect 3 different ways downstairs, 3 different ways upstairs, right? That they utilize the square lobby area so well where it's not overpowered for one side or the other. You know what I mean? When it comes to pushing or defending off of. The feasibility to take ground in as an attacker, but also hold ground as a defender. Like, if you hold archives along with upstairs site, you win, right? If you hold garage in that back area while also holding basement, you win. And even when you're playing like in the first 4 sites, if you hold upstairs, you win, right? A map needs that ability to be able to have the defenders hold separate sites, right? That aren't just where the bombs are, to help push that element of we're holding a perimeter, like a territory, not only the bomb site but the entire house. But then that needs to contradict in the attacking side, where if you take archives, you have a really good push angle. If you take garage, you have a really good push angle. If you take verticality, same thing. You know what I mean? You just need that ebb and flow. Clubhouse.
I think Clubhouse is an easy S tier. I think from both a defense and an attack point of view, it's amazing to attack. It's amazing to defend. I like both upstairs. Basement's pretty good. And there's a lot of ways that you can push on attack. You can push from dirt while they're in second floor. You can, I think Striker, the attacker recruit, I think really shines on this map a lot. Because there's just so many outside walls that aren't the primary wall that you can usually hit with a can opener, get certain angles, The breach shotgun's always nice, but it's just, I think Clubhouse is honestly just really, really, really great. It's just, I don't think of it as like either defender sided or attacker sided. I think it's really just whoever's smarter. Because there's some crazy angles on this map, dude. There's some crazy, not even just verticality. There's some crazy cross map angles that you can get, and people don't even really know about them, but they're there and they're kind of crazy.
I think what helps Clubhouse so well is the fact that it runs so perfectly for having a double upstairs and one basement sided defensive thing. Like, don't get me wrong, having bar/club room is a waste of a site, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Not saying that they should replace it. No, not at all. You know what I mean? If you can learn to play it properly and have a good stack that can do it,
there's things
you can
that
easily
you could do, but it's
you could throw the attackers off really well, but it just doesn't like
you would need a
play into
castle
the meta at the moment. Yeah, 100%. It doesn't play into the meta at the moment. But playing Clubhouse, right? You got cash and bedroom as the 2 upstairs sites, which are great because they utilize, as I said, that was so great about Chalet, right? You take a certain part of the map, right, and you hold so much ground over the other, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You cut off one area, you chokehold it, it makes the other a lot easier to get into. And then basement is just the perfect design of there's 4 entryways that need to be consistently watched, but they are very, very fun to defend. As you said, dirt, you know what I mean? Coming through dirt. We've done plays before, you and I, where we've got a Maverick and a fucking, shield operator just pushing in there and holding those angles while the enemy team makes noise, right? You've got the blue stairs down from garage and cubby room. Boiler room, yeah, which are great for just like putting a bit of pressure on the mirrors, right? Obviously, it's probably not the main push in, but still a good option to just apply pressure. And we all know main stairs and hatch are 2, holded choke points. But if you know how to play around it, if you can just cancel out the attacker or the defender's ability to hold those areas, you can easily apply so much pressure in. And again, it's all about that balance between attackers and defenders being able to do their thing and who just works out, as he said, whoever's smarter.
No, I think Clubhouse is a great map.
Coastline.
Now Coastline, on the other hand, it has good spots. It has enjoyable spots, but it's overall, it just feels like a pain to defend. It feels like a pain to attack. It just doesn't feel like it has a good flow.
The only thing I like about Coastline is when we play maps like Nighthaven, Chalet, and Clubhouse a lot, and then you throw one of those into the mix, it's like, holy shit, I'm not going to be banning Ace or Thermite or any hard breaches for that matter. I can prioritize Valkyrie and Dokkaebi and Goyo and a bunch of other operators, and then play those operators as well, because who the fuck are you good? Like, what are you going to hard breach? And for people who still ban Ace because they don't want that upstairs fucking wall to be taken out, just fucking go ahead and boss G yourself. You know what I mean? Like, it's not fucking... No, but seriously, like, the wall is pointless. You don't need to blow it open.
Vital,
it's not important. Like, don't get me wrong, yeah, if you blow it open, it applies more pressure, it stops them being able to run between sites. But any, person who has more than a room temperature IQ is going to be able to realize that when the wall's open, I shouldn't run past it. Okay, I'll stay at this part of the site and hold down where I'm looking at. Like, what are they going to do? They're going to rappel down and go through the fucking wall? No, of course not. They're just going to sit there and hold it. They're wasting their own time, and you'll be wasting your time trying to stop them from getting in. Simple as that. Like, yeah, I understand maybe late round when it's like a 1v1 and they're on opposite sides of the map, you can kind of maybe like a 2v1, 2 attackers, 1 defender kind of thing. But still, you get my point.
When it comes to Coastline, it's a very heavily vertical map, but not really in the sense of what the other maps were. Because the other maps, when I'm talking about the verticality you can get, I'm talking like through 2 or 3 floors, depending. It's just weird angles that you can get. But with Coastline, it's mostly just like a Pulse or a Valkyrie, and it's just a C4 and then boom, But it's
and like that single floor is just easily just like, hey, I'm gonna get rid of RAM.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And again, you don't need to worry about banning hard breaches, so it makes RAM such an easy ban to counter any kind of kitchen play. And it's like, they're gonna get upstairs and then what? They're just gonna be up there? They can shoot through the floor, sure, play buck, play sledge, whatnot, you know what I mean? But unless you have a RAM, the opening the floor is not gonna be anywhere near as effective.
Now, Consulate...
I think Consulate is a solid B tier. I think it's above Border in my opinion.
Really?
I actually like it a lot more than Border.
A lot of people don't like Consulate. I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be, though. I
not at all.
Love defending basement. I really do. I love defending
100%.
Basement on Consulate.
Second floor,
yeah.
I don't know. Like,
it depends on your team mostly. If your team hyperfixates on one area, like either the main window that most people will just breach and plant in, or the back window, towards like the front of the building, either of those that they get that they get hyper fixated on, the other window will just be rushed at that point.
Yeah.
So it's
You-
just
you need-
it's
you need a
just
good
basically
balance.
don't have a hyper fixating team. That's all that is.
Yeah, the downside comes from, like, obviously just the inability to play that with any kind of, like, flow to it, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, I like it when games end up being, like, anything could happen. They could bring a random operator and be like, why the fuck do they have, like, a Jaeger? You know what I mean? Type thing. But it's a case of, like, at this point, Consulate's, like, you either breach through the main window or you go through the main wall, are the two mains, and you can do other stuff, sure, but it's a lot harder and it's a lot more annoying.
There's a lot
right?
of forgotten verticality in Consulate. There's a lot of it.
Yeah. But it's like, but the thing is, though, is like, countering that verticality is actually quite easy because of how the map's laid out. You know what I mean? Getting into the area above garage where you can ram fuse or whatnot through the floor, if you just have one competent player sitting up there, you counter it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're unlike Chalet, unlike like Lair and Clubhouse, it's not as open. You know what I mean? So it's not as easy for a attacker to get in there and like hold their territory unless they bring 3 other people to sweep corners, right?
Yeah.
While a defender can just sit in the corner, wait for you to come back, dead, you know? And I've been victim to it. I've died like that several times. I've tried to mantle through a window and I'm dead within seconds because there's just like a fucking like warden sitting up there with a shotgun or an SMG shooting me through a wall. That's fine. Like, that's my own fault for not maybe droning out my corners and shit. But you know, it's if you're playing a vertical angle on Consulate, you need to bring the team with you to help gain that ground before you try anything, in my opinion.
No, Consulate, I don't honestly understand the dislike for it. I enjoy it a decent amount. Yeah. Got a good verticality. I like the verticality a lot to judge a map because I think if you judge a map off of verticality, it shows more map knowledge. Because I just think that there's a lot of spots that you can just get these obscene floor angles from, you know, and then people hate you for knowing that angle, and it's like, dude, if it's destructible, you gotta watch out for it. It's as simple as that. Now, Cafe, easy S tier. S tier. I think it's better than Clubhouse, honestly. I love Cafe. Especially with hop reaching, being in Siege X now. Ooh,
like that, honestly, Cafe would be A tier if not for hard breaching.
Yeah, hot breaching is
You know
what
what I mean?
pushes it to S tier.
Oh,
God, I love
upstairs is so much more fun to push because one round you hop breach, the next round you play it normally. You know what I mean? So that way, regardless of if you like win or lose the first round, you've done something fun that can change the next.
Yeah.
Because Cafe used to be so much pop the hatches, look through the skylight, get a few picks, drop and play. You know what I mean? And coming up from downstairs was always a hassle. Not that it was hard, but it was always more of a pain in the ass than not. You know what I mean? But ever since hop breaching came and made it more viable for you to just get in there, we've both got clips on our channels that just showcase how much fun it is. When it was just when Cafe was one of the only maps in the pool, it's all we fucking did. Like
so many clips, but it's
kitchen's so much fun to defend. You know what I mean?
It's
like,
fun to attack as well.
100%. And you've also got a good chunk of like enjoyability that comes from the second floor sites.
And it has a good
like,
flow
you can
with the stairs and everything too, and it just has an overall good flow.
2 main stairs that go up and down both floors, and then one that leads to a square area. Reminds me a lot of Chalet. You know what I mean? Like, it gives me that same feeling where you just have a staircase next to another
Not just
staircase
because
that
they're
goes
both
from the basement
in
to the
snowy
top.
areas.
Yeah, of course. Like, I mean, the snow is what makes it fun for me. I don't know about you.
Oh yeah, your country doesn't have snow. Your continent.
I'm going to New Zealand. I'll go touch snow eventually.
Yeah, instead of saying touch grass, I'll just tell you touch some snow. Canal. Canal, I'm kind of conflicted on. I think Canal is A tier. I think it would be S tier if it had a third path. If it had
100%.
If the underbelly that's on the left side of the map, now, well, you know, depending on how you look. Anyways, you know what underbelly I'm talking about. Under canoe and all that. If that underbelly connected to the other side of the map, I think that it would be an S tier map. But I think Canal is honestly another kind of overhated map. I think it's really fun to attack. I think it's really enjoyable to defend. Again, there's some really good vert spots on here. Not as many though. Not as many because of it being basically 2 maps, obviously just connected with sky bridges. But there's some pretty crazy stuff that you can do with the floors and all that in this map, whether it's pre-placed C4s or just angles and things of that nature. But again, if it just had that third path, it'd be S tier.
Yeah. My favorite thing is purely either just A, Cade bottom basement and designing hatches while putting a C4 onto the floor, so as soon as I hear that fucking clonk 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 of the fuse, just bang, dead. Or upstairs with Fenrir has become another one of my favorites, where you just put the traps in the little bookshelves and it makes them fucking skits out. Like, I'm pretty sure I have a clip of them like throwing rams everywhere while getting Fenrir, and they're just having a fucking panic attack. It's like, brother, calm the fuck down. Like, I was the only person up there. They could have easily picked me off, but you know, like if it just had that third area to move through, it would make it a lot more crisp. But because having only 2 angles between the 2 separate buildings kind of narrows down rotates and flanks, especially since Skybridge is such an easy to watch angle, and then the other angle forces you to go up red stairs or green stairs, which are always constantly monitored. Like it just
needs that third underbelly path. It just needs the third underbelly, and it'd be fine. It's got a lot of spawn peaks that people, or outside angles as well, I guess you would call them, that people just don't know about, don't look for, and aren't expecting ever. Like there's the door on the left side of the map, right side of the map. I keep flipping the 2 because it just depends on the way that you look at it. But with the second floor site, the base, when you go all the way down those red stairs, there's a door down there that I feel like people just forget exists. And it's like, you can look out there, you can get spawn peaks, you can rush from that.
Especially when people because people tend to spawn from that side on like basement pushes, you know what I mean? And I've been a victim to it, getting my head taken off by it. I think it's fucking annoying, but if I'm not smart enough to walk past the fucking van, then you know I deserve to get my asshole torn apart by my teammates.
Oregon.
Look, put it in D tier. I don't look, as much as I hate Oregon.
It's a 1v1 map. It's a clips map. It's not a good ranked map. It's not a good 5v5 map. It just simply isn't a good ranked map. It really isn't. Yeah. It's great for your 1v1s and things like that, but it's just not a good ranked map.
Don't get me wrong, I will happily play Oregon if it's one of the only picks, or if I'm forced to play it, sure, right? If I have to play it more than twice, I'll get pissed. You know what I mean? 100%. Right? But I feel like Oregon it's not only the fact that Oregon just isn't a fun map for 5v5
It doesn't have a good flow.
But I feel like, and it's just, people have now got an ideology around Oregon purely because of people like Jinxie and all these other popular, like, Siege streamers who, like, again, I'm sure they're great players and I'm sure they're great people, but they made a community of people who are like, Barra, I'm spawn picking, Barra, look at me go, I'm running into sight, you know what I mean? It's Oregon, everybody loves Oregon, it's the best map, Barra.
I don't want a headache, not this early.
People who have that mindset because they watch these streamers, they think they're funny, you know what I mean? I mean like the people who watch them think they're funny, not they think the streamers are funny, because they're enjoyable people, but like
it's easily influenced like 13-year-olds. That's what it is.
Yeah, and it's left a bad taste in a good chunk of the community who see Oregon and then play as if they're like the god's gift to Siege. Then they get one spawn peak, think they're goated, 0-6 for the first like 6 rounds, and then they get it when they're on overtime, and it's like, oh, I picked the player. You check the scoreboard, it's the guy who's going like 2-5. You know what I mean? Running up
the one copper out of 4 champs.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's like, oh, you really got a spawn peak. It's like, guys, look, I got a spawn peak, and then he like gets domed a second later because the guy who does have a brain on the enemy team is like, oh, there's a guy spawn peaking. You know what I mean? It's like,
use the copper as bait.
Yeah, it's like, look, basement can be fun to defend, but it's also not, and it can be fun to attack, but it's also not. Same for upstairs, you know what I mean? I feel like the only way I enjoy playing upstairs is if I push through attic at this point, because it just gives me a lot more reliability in a chokehold of either I win or they win.
See,
like, less variables.
For Oregon, not only is it just not a good ranked map, it's mostly just 1v1 map, but it's not a siege map. It really isn't. When you really think about it, there's little to no verticality. There's little to no 4D chests involved. There's like a couple spots where you can do some shenanigans, but it's so minimal compared to other maps. And I quite frankly just don't think Oregon is a siege map. It just doesn't, it lacks so many elements that make siege, and it's why it's a great 1v1 map, sure, but I don't think I really don't think Oregon should be in ranked pool. I really don't. I think it should be removed from ranked. I really do.
I'll tell you what would make Oregon better. I like literally just concocted this in my head, right? Get rid of attic, right? And replace that second floor where you can breach through the wall in attic with a balcony, right? And then just keep the staircase that leads up to that thing and then down into the map. You know what I mean? Like make an outside area, make it like a box. You've got the wall that attic is usually
I think that would
defending.
honestly just make the problem worse, because I think the map is too small as is. If anything, you need to expand to the map, not take away or like deconstruct it a bit. Like
Maybe. I just thought the only reason I thought that is purely because maps that have two main staircases that go up and down and then one other basement staircase just work in my opinion. Like.
And I know that we're going to get flack for the Oregon take, but it's good for your 1v1s. It's just not a good siege map. It's not a good ranked map.
No.
It just isn't. And it's as simple as that. Now, Skyscraper is a map that I have conflicting opinions and feelings on, because on one hand, I don't honestly mind Skyscraper all that much. I don't think it's that bad of a map. But there's other times where I kind of feel like it could be a bit better. But yeah. I don't think it's as bad as some people make it out to be. And I really do think that it falls kind of B tier. I honestly kind of prefer it over Consulate. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, well, if I see Skyscraper, I'll be like, oh, sweet, Skyscraper. Like, because I know how I want to play it, and I know how the enemy team's probably going to defend it, and I find it fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's small issues that can be nulled over by just don't play it that way. But at the end of the day, they need to improve upon it to an extent. Like,
yeah.
I feel like the one thing that Skyscraper lacks, right, out of every map in the game is the innovation from CJX. I'm talking.
Well, it's getting
pipes,
that in
fire
December, I believe. I believe that's one of the ones getting it later this year. They gave us a little sneak peek, but I don't think it's next season. I think it's the 4th season. So
yeah, because that is one of the only maps that has like become lackluster from no pipes, no fire extinguishers, nothing like that. No map terrain, which would make it better for a trapping operator like Capcan, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I like the verticality this map offers. I think it has some underrated verticality, and honestly, it's a really great Capcan map because there's a lot of doorways that people don't realize are doorways, especially in places where somebody would just like rush from, like in Tea Room, it's like there's like 3 doors in there that you can Capcan that people just don't think about. It's a very good map for it. But overall, I think Skyscraper gets a really bad rap. Great verticality, I think. There's some angles that people just don't realize are spots that you can watch from above or below. But yeah, it could be improved though. It definitely could have its improvements, and we'll see how it handles in season 4 when we get it CJX'd. Now theme park. Theme park, I'm gonna be honest, is C tier. There's aspects of theme park that I like a lot, and there's parts that I don't like at all. I love defending Throne Room. And I feel like that's a really controversial thing, but I love defending Throne Room. If you can lock that down, dude, it's just you kind of just win. I don't mind the office 2nd floor site. I don't like bunks at all. I don't like daycare and bunks at all. I don't like that site at all. Pre-placed C4s go really hard on this map for hatch drop. Even though, bless you, you're definitely not going to see as many hatch drops now with the CJX changes.
No, not at all.
But it could be better. It could definitely be a lot better. I think its hate is slightly slightly overhated, but I think it's also properly rated a lot of the times. What are your thoughts on theme park?
Look, I feel like theme park, when it comes to like attacking on it, it's one of my least favorite things to do. Purely as you've said, hatch shopping changes and whatnot. There's avenues where it's still fun. Like I said, you can take the ground, you can hold the position, going through main towards like kids play area and everything like that and whatnot. But it still lacks in that department where you've got the good upstairs map and then the good second, like the first floor map, and then everything else is kind of
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like having only 2 semi-strong sites to defend, like obviously Throne being the best, but still, it's like, I feel like Throne, we practically need 3 of us.
Honestly,
like
Throne, I think you need 4 consistent picks to make it really, really work. I can run it down for you right now. Throne is the easiest 5 operator pick ever, right? You get a Bandit, a Cade, a Mute, and a Rooney, and a Goyo. That should be your go-to setup every time that you play Throne and Armory, are those 5 ops. You want just a Mute on the drone hole for any, twitches or anything like that. And then the rest are just obviously basic Mute placements other than that. And then obviously you want to Bandit the 2 parallel walls. And you want to Cade the hatch, Cade the remaining wall. You want to Rooney the 2 main outside doors. And I mean, like, your third one, honestly, you could maybe go get hatch, or you can get the underbelly of hatch. So if they break hatch, then they still have to, fall through into Rooney gate, something like that. And then the Goyo, 2 Goyos on each door, and that's 20 seconds per Goyo. So you can burn 40 seconds on both the doors. And it's like, if it comes down to the last 20 seconds, dude, and you pop all those, it's like, it's just they're just cooked, quite literally cooked.
And whatever you do not break holes above the main breach wall. It doesn't matter what you want to do with the C4. I'd rather you keep it close, so then they have to do it to then throw a grenade. You know
I'm gonna be honest,
because
it's like Goyo should be anchoring, Mute should be roaming, Aruni should be roaming. Bandit and Cade should be anchoring. So you should have 3 anchors and 2 roamers.
Yeah, you have the Goyo play in the corner of like the armory area. You've got the Cade and the Bandit sitting in their kind of corners of Throne, watching the 2 doorways, and maybe even Bandit tricking if necessary, right? Especially since they're the 2 C4 operators, so it's just smart in case they do end up blowing off the top part of the thing.
And Aruni and Mute should be taking right and left, whichever they prefer.
Well, like,
honestly,
you break the hatch next to the main breach on that side. Rooney sits
you can
above
watch the mantle in from the door or the window.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And you've just got all that ground held efficiently. But then, again, that's the case of people just don't know how to play it properly if you're playing with only 2 or 3 people, and it's harder.
Yeah. But yeah, that site, I think, is one of the only sites in the game that has like a definitive, like, you go these 5 and you're winning. There's like the chances of losing are actually so minimal that it would be a Christmas miracle if you did.
Yeah.
And I think that might be why I like Armory and Throne so much, is because it's like, it is one of those sites where it's like, if you just go these 5 ops, you're pretty much solid. It's just.
But the thing I like about that as well is that if I was playing against 5 people who played those 5 ops, you know what I mean? I would love to learn how to play against it, but you never get that experience, unfortunately.
No. Nobody ever goes Throne usually, and they mess it up when they do. But Villa, I think I think Villa's the best of the worst. I think Villa, it's a weird map. It has really, really great verticality. It has pretty good pathing and routing and all that. I think honestly my biggest issue with Villa is that the basement's just been forgotten about. It never gets used anymore. Like, you can still use it to attack and go through like the barrels to get inside and things like that. Like, I do that from time to time, but it's not very common that I do that. But it's just I just think if basement was utilized a bit more, I could see it being low B tier. But
yeah, they need to make a few more options for it, I guess. Like, don't put a site down there, obviously, but make it a bit more.
I think that they could put a site down there. I think Because you have the one
they
that's
did that,
library. The one that's in library, I think, should be the one that gets moved down there.
If they did that, though, they need to maybe rework how it could be played. Maybe a few more hatches that lead down there. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, you got the barrel entries. I don't know. It's just, I think the underbelly is kind of forgotten, and I think that's my biggest gripe with it. The verticality is really nice. There's a lot of spots on there that people just don't realize exist, and you can get some insane angles on common run-ins or both of the main stairs that aren't the one side stairs, red stairs. You can get vertical angles looking directly at them, and you can just kill anybody running up them.
yeah.
I don't think it's that bad of an attacking map. I don't think it's that great of an attacking map. I don't think it's that bad of a defending map. I don't think it's that great of a defending map either. It's just kind of middle of the road. It could be better. It has its problems, but you know, I think it's another map that kind of is a case of you just hope that you have good teammates. That's all that kind of map is, I feel like.
Yeah. Now, can I make one more controversial opinion before we finish up?
Yes.
Outback is better than Oregon.
I agree. I honestly do agree.
Has better hard breaching spots for site play.
Has better flow.
verticality. Yeah, much better verticality for the first floor maps. Second floor maps. The only reason why people hate it is purely because of the spawn peaks, right?
Yeah,
the
is
ability
a
to
bit
just break a window, see the entire roof, see the entirety of one side of spawn, and obviously,
it's a bit
D-Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand getting in is a bit of a hassle when you breach the main hatch into bunks, but then you still need to move into the kitchen to plant. You know what I mean? Sure, but any team that knows how to defend / attack it makes it a lot better and a lot more fun and fluid.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not leagues above Oregon, but it definitely is above Oregon. But right now it's nuked by Ubisoft right now, rightfully so.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons I love Outback a lot is because it makes Callie fun to play, I guess.
Callie is just a good op in general. She's definitely underrated. Like the one post that you sent me the other night was talking about. She's definitely a very, very underrated op. But yes, Outback really, really shines with her, I feel like.
You've just got the entire roof. You can destroy the bandits on the main breach. You've got windows to look through. You know what I mean? And there's so much length when going through Bull to then look into the other side. You know what I mean? Both of those walls and stuff. You break that shit open, and you've got so many angles that can play off of her scope, which is really, really efficient.
Now, when it comes to the map rankings, I think that they're unlike the operators. We actually put them kind of in the spots that we'd like them in.
Yeah.
I feel fine with this. And I will say, if I could remove one map from ranked and replace it with one map that's not in ranked right now, I'd remove Oregon. And quite frankly, the only one that's not in ranked that I could see maybe doing decent would be Fortress, and I'm pretty sure that's the map that's getting a complete rework in Season 4, which is getting it's getting the rework and then elevated fully to ranked. I'm pretty sure it is Fortress, because Fortress realistically is the only map not in ranked that could potentially be in ranked. So
it suits it. Yeah, it suits it.
The other one would be
map...
Tower. There's no others here though that I want.
Everything else there is purely stadium and close quarter are purely just custom maps. Presidential Plane is just fucking annoying, right? Yacht, same shit, different smell. I remember we played quick play matches a few seasons ago for challenges, and I had an aneurysm on that fucking map.
Yeah, they're horrible. Old House is better than New House.
Yeah,
Old House
I've never played House. I've never played House outside of quick matches, and I've only done that 2 or 3 times on my account. And every time I've played it, I've just wanted to kill myself. It's so ridiculously annoying to just do anything on that map, and fuck Brazil. Just fuck Brazil. Fuck Brazil. That's all I can say. Just fuck Brazil.
All right. Well, I'm happy with the ranking. One map was blown up by Ubisoft, the other was blown up by Deimos. Is there anything that you would want to change about this list? Because I'm quite content with it.
Nope. I think it's looking all dainty in my opinion.
All right. Well, that's our ranking of the Rainbow Six Siege maps. Let me know that you hate me in the comments below for my opinions on Oregon. And remember to subscribe.
Yeah, woo, yeah,
Yeah,
woo,
woo, yeah.
yeah.